playing tonight. Start with the statement, then we'll take questions. Coach?
Yeah, I mean, I just can't really say enough about our group. I've been proud of a lot of teams for a lot of different reasons, but not sure I've been more proud of an individual team than I am about this one right now. I mean, there's been more curveballs thrown at this group this year, starting in the summer with injuries, and we've had to reinvent ourselves 3 or 4 different times with different lineups and different guys in and out. We've had some of the craziest things happen in games that I've ever been a part of. We come home from the West Coast, and we have the Nebraska game where we're really ready to play, and we lose a 20-point lead, and now we're sitting at 4-11, and a lot of teams would have been okay with going on spring break, the last 5 games, everything that had happened to us. But I tell you, man, our guys have continued to practice really hard. Our leadership, even when we were sitting at 4-11, all I kept hearing Nick and Ty and Matt was, we're gonna find a way to have a winning season. We're gonna find a way to have a winning season. And for these guys to go on the road to Columbus and play the way they did, and then stamp it by playing at Minnesota, coming home, and holding an Iowa team that is a prolific offensive team to 57 points, man, just couldn't be more proud of the guys and how they're fighting and battling. I'm just kind of trying to stay out of the way, really. I mean, just they're leading each other. They're battling, they're fighting, and this was a team win tonight. The defense carried the day, but a lot of guys stepped up and made plays when we needed to tonight to win the game.
Questions, Matt?
Coach, you've kind of the hallmark of your program here at Northwestern has been star guards. With the progression you've seen from KJ, what kind of trajectory do you see him on right now?
Yeah, hopefully he can get to that level. At some point he's still a freshman, but what's been really fun is to see his growth over the past couple weeks in particular. I mean, it's hard playing at this level, and we hold our guys accountable for a lot of things. And I think for a while his head was spinning there a little bit because it all came from a good place because he wanted to please. And what can happen is when you do that, you kind of just get paralyzed sometimes when you're overthinking and trying to do well. And I really just talked to him about these last 8 games once we kind of had our injuries, and I knew he was going to be playing a lot, was just try to be more free of mind and knowing that there's going to be mistakes made. I mean, as freshmen do, but just hopefully get him to be a little bit more instinctive and get more in attack mode. He's never really been like a true point guard. He's always kind of played with dominant point guards. So he's been an off the ball combo guard, kind of, secondary ball handler and more of a scorer. And so he's learning to kind of, how to run a set, how to be aggressive. And these last couple games, he's been terrific. We were joking with him today because he really hadn't had a great game at home. You think about it, he played really well at Dayton early in the year. Then he played great in these last 2 games, Ohio State and Minnesota when we won. But, I said, man, you might need to change your routine or something because, we need you to be that guy at home tonight. And he certainly was.
Fun.
Coach, season lows for Iowa with 57 points and 36% from the field. What did you see out of your defense, and what did you guys emphasize to have such a good defensive play?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we really wanted to try 2 guys that have just given me nightmares personally for 2 years, Dix and Sanford, 2 guys that I'm huge fans of. I mean, I have so much respect for those guys as players and what they've done, and you guys know how I feel about Fran and what he's meant to me, and I've known him my whole life. But, we wanted to try to do a good job of taking those guys' threes away, making them be 2-point scorers, shooting pull-ups, mid-range stuff. I thought for the most part we did a good job of that. And, they had some other guys step up, Thelwell and Price made some shots. But, if you hold Sanford and Dix to 6 for 25 and 2 for 11 from the 3-point line, you're going to give yourself a chance. And we just never let them get out and get running on us. That was another thing in the first game. we didn't do a good job in transition defense. I thought we got back well. We didn't turn the ball over, which helps. We took, even though at times we didn't shoot the ball well, I thought we took expected shots. We didn't take unexpected rush shots, so we knew we could get our floor balance and get back and kind of make them play in the half court. And then I just credit our guys. They run a motion offense. It's a little bit different. You don't see a lot of that. You see specific sets in a lot of teams. They run nonstop motion, and usually they wear people down, and as the game goes on, you start shortcutting some things, you start overrunning some things, and that's where they get you. And I thought our discipline in over 40 minutes was really good.
All right.
Coach, when Matt went down there early on in the second half, Keenan came in with a dunk immediately and then a rebound on the other end, and Luke had a solid performance. What can you say about some of your big guys coming in and stuff?
Yeah, it was awesome. Just, again, next man up mentality, because honestly, guys, I thought Matt was the unsung hero of the first 25 minutes of the game. In that motion, I mean, his ability to help on all those back cuts, all those things at the rim. He had some blocked shots. He was protecting our basket. He had 6 rebounds. I thought Matt was playing great. And then all of a sudden he goes down. I'm like, man, this is going to be interesting. And I thought both Keenan and Luke, that last 15 minutes of the game, really came in and gave us good minutes. Their energy and their play was great.
On Matt, is he good?
Took a finger to the eye. I haven't really talked. I mean, you guys could kind of see it was bruised up. He had a little bit of a cut. He said it was swelling, so it was just kind of hard for him to have vision, so they didn't really want him to go back into this game. But I'm hopeful. A lot of times, a couple days of treatment and rest, and hopefully he'll be ready to go on Monday.
Coach, it seemed like early in the second half, you guys struggled a little bit with the full court press of Iowa, but eventually were able to break through. I know Justin Mullins had some, where he was wide open and your guys were able to find him. What was the messaging in pushing through that press and being able to eventually break through that?
Yeah, I mean, really, I only thought we had one turnover. I could be wrong. I thought KJ had the one there where he lost the ball. I thought overall, we had 7 turnovers for the whole game. We had 2 in the first half. I thought we did a pretty darn good job against the press, and then I thought we utilized, when they really ratcheted it up at the end, I thought we were smart with our timeouts. Our guys had the presence of mind a couple times when the clock was against us to get the timeouts, and I thought we were pretty confident, with the ball and, attacking the double teams, and guys were flashing, and then we came down and ran good offense. I thought we got good movement. The ball was moving well. Ty had a huge floater there. When we broke the press, got it up, we used 25 seconds of clock, and Ty had a big floater there to kind of put us back up 11, I think, which was a huge thing with about 1:20 to go.
Yeah.
Coach, when you came here, this team had never been to an NCAA tournament. Obviously, smaller school, smaller name brand than the rest of the Big Ten. I'm curious whether you think that default state of pushing against structural disadvantages has actually helped this team face adversity like you faced this season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, these guys know nothing about what I inherited 12 years ago. So and they should, nor should they. They walked into a place that people wearing the jerseys, the Sanjay Lumpkins, the Drew Crawfords, the Trey Demps, the Alex Olas, the Brian McIntosh, Nate Taphorn, Derek Pardon, those guys paved the way, with me, and there were many before. But with me, those were the guys that paved the way and kind of changed the narrative. They changed the narrative of how we were going to play, how tough we were going to be. And then obviously we had a little bit of a step back, which happens. It's part of life. That wasn't a fun time period to kind of have to start all over. We had worked so hard to get where we wanted to go, and we lost a lot of momentum, and we lost a lot of our juice, and we went back to the bottom of the league. And honestly, building it the second time was harder. And that's I'm almost more proud of that, because very rarely do you have an opportunity to build and then have it kind of the cards, fall down and then rebuild it again. And that's what this next wave of players has done. Boo Buie and Robbie Barron and Chase Audige and all those guys. I can go on and on. The guys that were a part of the last couple years, and now these guys. Brooks Barnheiser, Ty Berry, Matt Nicholson, Nick Martinelli, all these guys, and they've been a part of our second build. And it's hard. Now that we've been to 2 tournaments in a row, we're in a league that's very competitive. We've had tons of injuries, tons of kind of craziness kind of happen in our games. And for us to kind of climb out of the hole and keep fighting and find a way to kind of get ourselves back in the mix, I think it shows a lot about what the character of our locker room is. So, to answer your question, I mean, I feel all those things that you talk about, but none of these guys do. I mean, they didn't play in the old gym. They never saw the back gym, the old offices, all those things, when we first got here. And so, that's what a program's about. There's people who kind of pave the way for you, and now it's these guys' time to kind of hopefully elevate us and move us into the future.
Coach, now you hold second place amongst Northwestern coaches in career wins. In a season just characterized by adversity, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means I'm old, first, to have that many wins. And, really this is a place that hasn't had a lot of turnover, which I respect. That's one of the reasons why I was attracted to come here, because I knew it was going to take a little time. They've always, been loyal to their coaches to fight through adversity and give them a chance. So, to be here for 12 years, you look – sometimes I look at the history of Northwestern and I see coaches that have coached here. And you're talking about guys like Tex Winter, or in the Hall of Fame, a guy like Bill Foster, obviously Kevin O'Neill, guys in the current time frame. Bill Carmody, I mean, magnificent coach. What Coach Carmody, did in the Ivy League at Princeton, and then he came here and how hard he was working, and it just wasn't quite. He had a lot of unlucky stuff with injuries and things where he couldn't get over the hump. But you're looking at coaches that are really good coaches, and so to be a part of that group and to kind of do the things we've done, obviously it makes me feel good. But when you're a coach, you don't play. So coaching records are all about players. And so I hope guys that have put the jersey on for me over the 12 years, they take part in this, whatever. It's not a record, to be in second is not a record, but I hope they take part in these wins, because I'm not getting any of the wins without those guys going out there and fighting their tails off for me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Do you allow yourself to think about where this team might be if some of the guys had stayed healthy, especially Brooks?
I'm sad about it. I'm sad every day I look at Brooks. I mean, you guys saw my emotion when we had to shut him down. I mean, no one loves this place more. No one loves college basketball more. No one loves putting the jersey on more than Brooks Barnhizer. And it's heartbreaking to me that he can't be out there. But, man, what he's doing for his guys over there on the side, he's been so good. I really not challenged Brooks, but I told Brooks, him and Nick are so close that I've kind of put Brooks in charge of, like, I need you to be Nick's whisper, whatever they call that. I'm not good with words, you guys, but I want him – I want Brooks to kind of be there every game and be that strong voice and be that person that Nick sees to kind of help him as Nick's becoming a star player. That's not easy. Nick was thrust in now to being the number one guy and then the focus of everybody's attention. But yeah, I mean, I felt like when we were whole, I felt like, we could compete with anybody. I really did, especially the way Jalen was coming on. But that's how it is. And look, other teams have had sickness. Other teams have had injuries. Look at Iowa. They don't have their best. Owen Freeman's not out there. They've had other guys. Stelwell's missed time. So, it's part of a season a lot. You got to navigate it. But, yeah, I'm sad that we never really kind of got our full complement this year to see how good we could be. But, that's life sometimes. You got to move on.
Coach, I want to talk a little bit about Nick and Ty.
Yeah,
kind
sure.
of a nice segue to
Yeah.
Brooks and him. Nick has a tough shooting night, and then Ty, has a couple key buckets here and there. How do they play off of each other with that relationship? Given,
Yeah.
I know you've talked before about how he was roommates with Don, his older brother.
Yeah.
He has that deeper connection with the
No
family.
doubt.
How do they feed off of one another, and how does that kind of play?
Yeah, I mean, they really are like family. You hit it on the head when Ty came in as a freshman, his roommate, and that was COVID. So that's when, you really were just with your teammates, because we were in the bubble, so to speak. We couldn't really have any contact with anybody else. So, the Martinelli family has meant a lot to Ty, especially living here locally. And Ty, as you guys remember, his freshman year, he lost his father during COVID, and it was incredibly sad. And the Martinellis really stepped up and have been there for him. And to see Ty kind of be a big brother to Nick, and that relationship is really good. And I just can't say enough about Ty, Matt, and Nick. I mean, those guys, they're the ones they're the ones that deserve the credit for what's going on right now, because they're the three guys that won at a really high level, and they're the three guys that have not let this thing go to waste this last part of the season. You know, the way they're talking to guys before practices, the things they're saying, the way they're pushing the younger guys. I'm just so proud of their leadership and the way those guys have been. And it's just really fun to see us get rewarded. And, you know, it doesn't happen all the time. You can do the things right and sometimes still fail and not get it done. But to see, to your point, to see Ty and Nick, especially that relationship and how Nick's kind of always been his little brother, and kind of see them now playing together and kind of being our leaders out there on the floor, it's been fun for me to watch that. Yeah.
If there was a word, I know you just said you weren't great with words, but
Yeah,
if you
not-
could characterize those three with a word, what would you use?
Yeah, I'll make mention because I get my kids kill me a lot at home. You know, I try to brag that I went to a top 10 university, but my daughter tells me that's because I could shoot threes, not because of my academic acumen. So, you know, anyway, what was the word? What was the question here?
If you could use a word to describe Matt, Ty, Nick as leaders of this team.
Yeah, I would. That's a good question. You know, the first one that comes to mind is just tough-minded. It's just tough-minded, and I don't know if that's two words or one word. I mean, is that two words, Matthew? So it's one word, so I can get away with it.
Better for the doubt.
Tough-minded, you'll give it to me. So we'll go with tough-minded. All right, maybe it was the three-pointer that got me into Duke. Yeah.
Monday you have senior night coming up. Obviously you have 3 program cornerstones departing and 2 graduate transfers. What are emotions like heading into that?
High. I've loved this group. You know, this group has meant a lot to me. My son's also a part of this group, you know, so, you know, these were guys that came to the program during COVID, you know, when we were going through a tough time. You know, there was a lot of negativity around the program, a lot of doubt about whether we could get it done again. You know, was it a flash in the pan, the 2017 team, and we had some losing seasons. And this group of guys have really meant a lot to me personally, because I kind of felt like during that time I was losing my way a little bit for what made me good, just with everything swirling around. And this group of guys has renewed my faith in who I am as a coach and what makes me good. And this is a really special group to me. So it's going to be sad, trying to keep getting as many games as we can with these guys. But obviously it's going to be an emotional time because I've really loved this senior class.
That wraps up, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys. See you Monday.
Thank you.
Any questions for these two? Matt?
For KJ, tied your career high tonight. You know, you've really come on in these last 6 games. How much do you attribute to kind of like a mental progression throughout the season, or like in terms of just getting like your body up to speed in the Big Ten?
I mean, we practice really hard, so like playing against people like Nick every day, like it's easy to kind of get adjusted when we're playing against other players, but mentally, just staying ready. Like it's always like win first mentality. So, like just somebody goes down, you have to be ready to come in and contribute.
Starter?
KJ, you handled a lot of the ball handling responsibilities tonight. I know Coach said that in the past you played alongside a lot of good point guards. Mm-hmm. What does it mean for you to be out there commanding the floor like you did tonight?
I mean, this is actually my first time like playing point guard. Like you said, I've played with a lot of point guards, like Sheridan Sharp at Ben Davis, Mark Zachary at Ben Davis. So, it's kind of like I said, like just working, and Coach obviously trusts me with the ball in my hands. So like something that I had to work on early. We went to Europe. Like I don't think that I was the best ball handler, so just staying at it, working on it in practice. Played in some big games already this year where I've had to handle the ball, so just confidence growing.
Nick, can you talk about your second half, putting up 12 points after having 4 in the first half, and even in maybe an off game having 16 points and 9 rebounds?
Yeah, I mean, shots obviously aren't going to fall every night, but as KG was talking about, a winning mentality, I was going to do whatever it took to win. Obviously, you know, it's always good to have a 30-point game, but I'd rather have 0-point games and win every single game. So, and I was just happy to see guys like KJ, Justin step up. Yeah, I'm just proud of these guys. When you kind of get out of yourself and start worrying about your teammates, it definitely that change in mentality definitely helps.
Max in the middle.
Kind of like a joint question for both of you. Nick, when Iowa was sending the double in the first half, like, was there a point where you kind of realized, like, you might not be the guy because of the fact that they were focusing heavily? And KJ, like, when you started getting hot from three, was there a point where you kind of felt like it was your night and you kind of took over?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, like, obviously, like, that's part of my mentality is just, like, noticing that double teams are coming. And we talked about it. We knew they were going to be coming. And, yeah, I was trying to find, obviously when guys get hot, you start looking for them. And that's part of your mental progression as you grow in the sport, like, knowing who's hot. And I kept trying to find them as much as possible off the doubles. But, sometimes it was hockey assist, bang, bang, KJ3. So, yeah, definitely, like, I started to get that feeling a little bit in the first half and just try to contribute in other ways.
Nick, I asked Coach the same question, but I kind of want to ask you about your relationship with Ty. He knows your older brother pretty well. They were roommates when they were freshmen. How do you guys kind of play off of each other, and how does that relationship help you on court?
Yeah, I just remember when I had decommitted from Elon, Ty went to Coach and, like, told him to, give me a chance. And Ty always says, like, I'm the reason you're here. But, yeah, that relationship, he was always over at my house because we live 15 minutes away and just hanging out. And I got to work out with him a ton, like, when I was in high school. And, yeah, he'll say he beat me up, but that's really not true. But, yeah, obviously that relationship is developed. He kind of took me in under his wing. And especially through hardships, being a freshman is super difficult. Days are long when you're a freshman, and just having that, guy that took me under his wing and told me, everything was going to be okay. Yeah, that was huge for me.
Time for a couple more questions, Eli.
KJ, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but the team tweeted out a picture side by side of you and Boo during the same celebration. I'm just curious, was that intentional? And how much of a role model is he as sort of the aspiration for what a star point guard at this program looks like?
I will say that I've been doing that since my junior year before I committed here. Boo might have been doing it before that. I don't really know. But yeah, he definitely paved the way. Like, we've had, like, he's obviously like a all-time guard here, and watching him last year, it made me want to be out there. Like, even if I had to go sit on the bench and watch him, like, it made me excited to come up here. So the fact that picture, like you said, was us doing the same celebration, like, that's cool to me because they know how much I talk about.
He loves Boo. He loves Boo.
No more questions? Louis?
Nick, Coach says that you, Ty, and Matt deserve credit for not letting this season go down the drain after Jalen and Brooks got hurt. What do you do as a leader to not let that happen?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate, obviously, the testament from him, but I'll throw that right back at them. The coaches, they kind of upped they up a gear, when we were losing. You could give up on your team, be disappointed that we were doing some dumb stuff and losing games just barely, but they had that faith in us. Credit to Coach, all the coaches, just pushing us super hard, because they do have trust and faith, and that gives us the confidence. And also, Matt and Ty, obviously credit to them. They could have checked out. They're seniors, I don't know what they want to do afterwards, whether it's basketball or 9 to 5, but, obviously it's super difficult just losing games when you've been in a winning program for 2+ years. But, yeah, also credit to everyone else that stepped up. KJ, multiple 20-point games. Like, from a freshman, you don't see that often. So, yeah, just props to all the guys, Justin, everyone that stepped up.
Time Time for one more question, Audrey.
Nick, from a mindset perspective, when you have guys like KJ and Justin making these contributions and you don't have to, contribute 29 points in a game, what does that do for you out there on the court?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of faith in all my teammates. I know how much, and that just comes from the work that they put in. This guy, Jello, Justin, all those guys always want to get in extra work. This started on his visit. We were playing one-on-one for 3 hours, me, him, and his brother, just, talking ball, and I just knew he loved ball. And that's where you kind of develop trust, like knowing that people want to put in the work for it. So, yeah, with all these guys, it's just trust built on the work that they've put in.
All right, that'll wrap us up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.